everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new day. It is Thursday morning, which means it's food pantry day. So I just got out of the first food pantry of the day, and we'll have those hauls for you later on. But another beautiful day outside. It's about 41 degrees out. So sunny, blue skies, so nice out. All right, so I am actually going to head to the bakery shop right now. And what I think I'll do is, as I'm driving there, I'll record as I'm driving there and maybe just talk about how Glenn and I met for all you new viewers and subscribers. So just to catch everybody up. So for those of you who already know the story, sorry you got to hear it again. But all right, so let's get going and get this day going. All right, everyone, so driving away from the food pantry now, and just gonna go to the bakery shop. It's kind of a thing now. Every Thursday morning after I get out of the pantry, I go to the bakery shop and we just have some bakery for breakfast, and Glenn has coffee with that. And then for lunch, we'll probably just eat some hot dogs, and supper, we have our leftover chili, which was very good. I don't know if it comes through in the video, but that blue sky is so gorgeous. Oh. So anyway, yeah, that chili was so good. I went through and answered some comments or replied to some comments this morning. A couple of you had the suggestion of throwing some macaroni in there, like elbow macaroni. And I did reply to that, but for everybody's information, I was going to do that last night. Again, making two separate batches, and I wanted to do a chili with elbow macaroni for myself. Glenn doesn't like it because they're too big, but I have done that before, and I love that. But honestly, I was just feeling too lazy to do two batches of chili last night. And so I ended up just doing it the regular way, and it was still really good. I haven't had it that way in a while, and it ended up being pretty good. I had 2 bowls of it, so we got leftovers for tonight. But now for the story of how Glenn and I met, or how I ended up in Wisconsin. So I've been here for 21 years now. It was 21 years in January. So 2003 I got here in January, and previous to that I was living in California, and Glenn actually grew up here, born and raised here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. We actually met online in a Yahoo chat room, and what actually brought us together to start talking in the chat room was I had Siberian Huskies at that time, and so did Glenn, and his profile pictures was one of his Huskies. And I just commented on that, how beautiful she was. Her name was Shadow. And that got us to start talking about Huskies and our likes and stuff. So we had so much in common, and I know that sounds like, talking online, you pretty much can say anything, but we actually had so much in common. We talked on the phone. Yes, it was a big phone bill, but it felt like we really got to know each other just chatting. So we met online, we chatted and we talked on the phone, and just under 2 months later, I'm on a Greyhound bus to Wisconsin to start our lives together. Yes, Glenn sent me money to get a ticket and some food to eat along the way. So So yeah, I spent 2 or 3 days on a Greyhound bus to Wisconsin from California, and that's pretty much how we started our lives together, and that's how I ended up in Wisconsin. So yeah, we actually when we met and I first got here, Glenn actually could walk. He could still do normal things. We used to go fishing all the time, every single day. So when I got here, he was working as a salesman for CarQuest, which is kind of like a car parts store. He'd go to different companies and make sales and stuff. He didn't wear a suit and tie or anything. It was just normal clothes. But you would never get him to wear a suit and tie. But anyway, he was working when I first got here, and I would, I was staying at home at that time and cooking dinner, and always had dinner for him when he came home. But I'd always have the cooler waiting for him at the door. Like, okay, let's go fishing. So yeah, we would go fishing every single day. We had so much fun in the outdoors. We would take long country drives, and even in winter time, we actually started ice fishing, and we had the tip-ups, the ice fishing rod and reels, the shanties, everything, the fish finders, and we had a blast ice fishing. So, but as time progressed, I got here in January of 2003. By October of 2003, I had started a job. I started working at an insurance company through a temp agency, and then eventually got hired and was sent to classes for being an insurance agency for home and auto insurance. So I spent a good amount of years working for an agency as an insurance agent, and I loved it. But as everything changes, you start to not like it. But I continue to work. Just moved to a different agency, and but as time progressed, Glenn's health started getting bad. He's got arthritis all over his back. He's got bad knees. In his previous life, prior to meeting me years ago, in his early years, he worked as a auto body man. He basically worked on like classic cars and stuff like that. He used to actually show cars. He actually worked on them as well. And he used to be on his back and knees and stuff like that a lot to work on these cars. So his knees eventually gave out, and it made it harder for him to walk. So he basically became wheelchair bound. He couldn't walk anymore, and it just hurt to walk. He could walk like small areas, like from the living room to the bathroom, or the bedroom to the bathroom, or whatever, but he couldn't stand up for a very long time at all. So he got help from the state. He got a nice oversized wheelchair, and down the road he ended up with his mobility scooter. But I continued to work, so he never actually got disability pay, and so what I was making was supporting both of us. And so yeah, we did that for a lot of years, and then we had an incident, and some point down the road, maybe this summer, we'll show you where we used to live before we bought this house. We used to rent a side-by-side with basically a slumlord. And so one day in our bedroom, right above the bed where Glenn was actually laying, I was in the living room at the time, and I heard this big crack. And I run in there, and the ceiling had collapsed in the bedroom. luckily Glenn was not injured, but the landlord basically didn't pay no attention to it. He wasn't in a hurry to get it fixed, so we told him, well, guess what, we're not paying rent until you get this fixed. And so we ended up saying enough is enough, and we started looking for another place to live. We had several cats at that time, so it was hard to find a place to rent with cats. So we, me being a veteran, I thought to use my VA loan to buy a house, because you don't have to put anything down. And we stayed in the place for a little while longer, so that I could get my credit fixed and be able to get this VA loan. So I did that and got everything paid off, and I was eligible to get this loan now. So I used my VA loan and bought a house, the house we live in now, and I didn't have to put a penny down. And yeah, we ended up getting the house at $79,000. So yeah, with the half-acre lot and the house, the big 2.5 car oversized garage, $79,000. You're not going to find that now. We're coming up on the bakery shop. So yeah, we bought the house in 2011. All right, I will be back with the story, continuing the story, but I'm going to run in the bakery shop now. So we have 3 bakery shops here in town. This is about the middle of town. We have one on the south side, one on the, well, actually no, it's pretty much on the other block. But this is my favorite one. They have the best out of the 3, so this is where I usually come. It's kind of like an old-fashioned building. I actually took a picture of this building while it was snowing. It was so beautiful. So, all right, I'm gonna head on home and continue with the story. All right, everyone, so we're gonna head home now. We'll continue the story. I have no idea where I left off. Oh, we bought the house. We bought the house in 2011, and we call it our little piece of heaven. For those of you that have seen our backyard, many of you probably have beautiful properties, many acres, but this house and property is way more than we ever thought we would have. And sometimes I'm still at a loss that we still have this beautiful property. So yeah, we've had it since 2011, and in the summertime, if we're not out fishing or, you know, we're not on a country drive, we're enjoying our backyard. We're outside all the time in the summertime. So with limited funds, it's harder to take a lot of country drives or go fishing a lot. Especially with Glenn being in a mobility scooter, it is hard to find good fishing spots now on shore. So, but we do what we can, and we started camping when we got the converted cargo trailer. But last year we didn't go camping at all, and I'm hoping this year we could at least go once or twice. But because the fishing is so convenient for him there. The water is right there at our camp spot. So, Glenn's mobility is limited in the house. He can barely walk from the bedroom to the bathroom. As some of you have seen in past videos, in the winter time, we spend all winter in the house. We don't go anywhere like rides or anything. Glenn does not leave the house in winter because it's too hard for him to walk in and out. And if it's icy out, he's so terrified of slipping, which I cannot blame him. I'm terrified for him. So the only time I go out in winter is to run errands. Like I'm going to the pantry or go to the store or whatever I have to do. So that's the only time I leave, go anywhere in winter. Glenn does not leave the house at all in winter time. So it's pretty much 6 months in the house, 6 months out of the house. That's basically how it goes for us. And I know in the past somebody has asked if Glenn, because you see me do all the cooking, if Glenn cooks. Glenn is actually a really good cook, but he basically is limited to getting around in the kitchen, so he doesn't cook. He offers, I can cut this and cut that for you or whatever, but he would have to do it where he's sitting, so then you'd have to wash up, wash your hands and all that. So it's just easier for me to do it. But he would love to get in a kitchen and cook, because he is a really good cook. When I used to work and he stayed at home, he used to cook all the meals. Like I'd come home from lunch and he'd have some like lunch made. In the wintertime it was like tomato soup and butter bread or grilled cheese sandwiches, or for supper he'd have supper made. So yeah, he used to cook a lot, and so he can cook. He is a good cook. He just doesn't cook anymore because of his mobility. So that's basically it. In the kitchen we have really old tiles, and if he were to go through there with the wheelchair, I'm sure they would all crack. The wheelchair would just crack the tiles. So that's why basically he doesn't cook. So he basically gets Social Security now, and his Social Security basically pays the bills, the mortgage, the house bills, and all that. So, and we do what we can when we can. So that's our story. That's how I ended up here. I don't think either one of our families thought we would make it this long. But I think so we don't actually communicate or talk to Glenn's family anymore. Most of his family has passed on. He's got one sister left. All his other siblings have passed. But we're not on speaking terms. Pretty much had a big blowout, and I know, we've gone through this in the past, and we've not been on speaking terms before, and then we reached out and made up, and but then we got in another huge argument, and because of I'm Mexican and Native American, and his sister's true colors came out about how she felt about Native Americans, and so we argued and about a lot of stuff, bringing up the past, and so we just decided that we'd be better off without the negativity in our lives. So we just don't speak anymore, and we're okay with that. And unfortunately, that's just how it goes in families. Some families just are better off not communicating. My family, my mom and dad passed in 2018. They passed 45 days apart from each other. 2018 was our worst year ever. And but I still have siblings in California that I still communicate with them. But I'm coming up on our house now, so. But that's how I ended up in Wisconsin. That's how Glenn and I ended up together, and we are still enjoying life to the best of our ability. So, all right. So I will get with you guys, and I still have to go to the afternoon food pantry later on. And right now we're just going to have some bakery. And for lunch, we might have some hot dogs. So I will see you guys in a bit.